Hey guys, Green Guy with Green Guy Finance coming at you with another video. Had a pretty good week, made a lot of money, and I know we had a couple of you followers make some money with me. A lot of you liked the cherry pick alert system. Some of you told me you made money, so I know some of you did. But quite a lot of new followers. It was a pretty good week that way, so not surprising that when you get some good stock picks, you get quite a lot of new looks. But this video is a new follower requested I take a look at Plug. I like doing that. I say if you guys ever want me to take a look at a stock, just send me a post and I will absolutely do it. So that's what this is try to help out a follower so we can make a little bit more money. I'm going to take a look at Plug and its brethren, Fuel Cell and BLDP, and try to put things into perspective and show you guys how I would think about it to maybe give you guys a little bit more information going forwards, okay? Now, before we get too deep into Plug, I would say this. I always say this with stocks of this sort of nature, is never invest with your heart, always invest with your head. Whatever you see in this video, try not to have an emotional reaction. Try to have a rational, price-based, how can I make money analysis of the stocks. That's how you should think in the marketplace, because you know that's how those institutions that make all that money think. So start thinking like a pro, stop thinking like the herd, and you guys can make some real cash. And I think there's cash to be made on Plug, as I'm going to show you here in this video, but that is what it is, okay? So this is the Plug website. The Plug website here is sort of fun to play with, these pictures. They have a pretty nice design. Historically, Plug has always had a fantastic PR and marketing firm. Big negative in my mind. They always have had a bit of a overvalued approach to their news. They tend to overstate their news, and that just is what it is. When it comes to earnings time, they've historically had quite a bit of problems. But we've had some recent news catalysts that made people think otherwise. So let's take a look at that. First thing I would like to do is show you this site, Topsy. I found this when Apple bought them out. I do social analytics myself, but this site has a very nice layout, a monthly chart here with comparisons, and it creates quite a bit of an image on news catalysts related to price action in stocks. Doesn't always hold true that increased posts, increased retweets on the ticker will hold true for price action, but in this case it absolutely does, and you'd expect that given the initial premise that we set on Plug, which is a hyped company with a lot of great PR, good marketing firm. So the third, you see this, had a nice bump on the third in addition to Fuel Cell in blue and BLDP in green. Everybody had a little bit of a look on the third. Let's come to the 6-month chart on Plug here. So this is the third there, the big green candle. Had a couple nice day bounce up and then a knockdown with the midterm elections and a nice little rebound there. Midterm elections, people are predictable, are they not? Republicans elected, and they must hate solars because they hate the environment. So let's sell off. People are a little crazy. So this is probably the biggest thing you should keep in mind when looking at this stock is the catalysts that drive it, the news and the hype, and the reaction to the midterm elections should be foremost and front in your mind. I like to imagine who's investing in the stock with me. And in this stock, I imagine it's that idiot next to me in high school that is investing because they think this is going to be a $1 trillion company tomorrow. Saying that in 10 years it's going to be a $1 trillion company, and how could it not boom here? That's just the kind of person that's going to be in this. It's a growth speculative stock without a whole lot of institutional support and a big short float on it. So you have to be very cautious with this kind of stock, okay? Have to. Fuel Cell, very similar chart here, 6 months. The 31st had a nice green candle, third big bump, 2 days down for this one, but had some nice rebounding action, tend to correlate pretty well, Plug and Fuel Cell. But I must say I think Plug is running the show and leading and not reacting to the others. And not surprising given the upcoming earnings and the news. Fuel Cell hasn't had a lot of news really come out of it, so it's probably just reacting to Plug and and that news. So I think Plug is absolutely running the show there. Here's BLDP, not quite as healthy as the other two that we looked at. Nice little bump on the third there, and then 2 days beaten down. Coming back to this lower support line here. Looks like if it broke, it could get extremely ugly, or it could bounce. This is a hard one to call. But when you start on these sorts of support lines, it's tough to tell exactly what's going to happen. My guess is that this is going to go higher, but you have to eat some of those guys that are selling still. So BLDP might have some grinding action upwards is what I would expect out of BLDP. But, you know, if it breaks, it could get extremely ugly for BLDP. Now, Plug. Let's put it into perspective with the marketplace. Marketplace, all-time highs. When we start to see these almost all-time highs, here's the third, we start to see little growth speculative names pop. So very healthy indicator for the market in general, and not surprising to see out of Plug. But it almost seems a little too picture perfect in my mind. But not surprising if you think about who you're investing with, that whole thing of who's investing with you. The average retail investor investing in this with you thinking that the market is now safe, we're going to go that much higher, and hey, why not put it into something that's going to be the future like Plug? So, not surprising to see this sort of thing, but you got to be careful because think like a pro, not like the herd. Okay, guys? Think like a pro. Pro buys low and sells high. They don't jump into the middle of a bar brawl. They stand on the outside and hit somebody with a bottle. That's the easiest way to win a fight, is by fighting dirty. So if you don't know, don't play it, is what I would say. Absolutely. Let's take a look at the news catalysts on Plug here. Pretty quick summation. This is the biggest news catalyst to come out. Basically, they had a deal with Golden State Foods. You can see it. This is the one-sentence sum up found in the street, which was reiterated by quite a lot of other sites, but 39 of its material handling vehicles of Golden State Foods will now be serviced by Plug's GenDrive fuel cells. So, fantastic. You read more into the news, I would exercise some caution with this stock because people are expecting that this will be the first ever profitable earnings report to come out of Plug. Caution advised. I'll get more into that with the history leading up to that, but caution advised. The other news catalysts it had, let's just go through that real quick before we jump off with the past history, but the other news catalyst that they had a deal with Praxair that came out. Basically, a big gas producer made a partnership with them. In addition to that, they had Cuomo visit them, and they're expecting a huge New York contract. So there's some potential upside catalyst. That's good for this stock, and I like to see that. I like the alternative energies, but this upcoming earnings, I think, will be extremely predictable to make money off of for a couple reasons. One is a lot of people expect this earnings, which is going to be on the 12th before market opens, to be a profitable earnings. And I got to say, let's not hold this through earnings, ideally, because this could go either way, absolutely, but more likely not. If you look at the history of it, there was a fun little article by Citron. If you guys have been holding this stock forever, Citron had a March article that came out that highlighted the history, and I went back and I read it, and it was absolutely true on Plug and its valuations and everything. But, you know, this was going back when Plug was back at 1150 is where it topped, sort of, and it was definitely overvalued at 1150. I'm not saying that the Citron article still holds true for the short-term analysis, but some of the things they said historically were absolutely true and need to be mentioned, which is they tend to overstate the number of sales they have, and when earnings show, they tend to get a little bit of a reality bites type reaction. So that's the history of this stock. Despite the sales, despite everything else, and I did the math, I don't think they're going to be profitable from what they've even said. I think you're going to get a bit of a nasty reaction of Plug. But, hey guys, does that mean that we have to invest with what's really going to happen? No. The easiest way to make money in this market is by hype and overreaction and taking advantage of the other guy's idiocy. Do that. It's easy. So, if the other guy thinks that this is going to have a fantastic earnings, let's play into that, because I think this stock could definitely have some price action bumps going into it before earnings. So that's the play. I'd say it's upside until that earnings, very short term, and afterwards, heads up. Who knows which way it can go. Earnings plays can be one of the hardest things to predict, more likely to the downside, in my opinion. But that's pretty much what we're looking at for this stock, is some short-term upside followed by a big question mark for that earnings. I would not be a long-term holder in Plug. I don't think it's made it there. It's a growth speculative stock. I think you'd be better placed elsewhere, honestly. But I do like the company, at least in its stated goals and its product and its ideology. But let's be realistic. Price action is how you make money. You don't invest with your hearts, like I said before. So up to earnings. I think it's going to have some good days. After earnings, big question mark. That's where I'd leave it. Now, how I would play that earnings, I don't think there's a whole lot of protection you can get on Plug. The options are horrendously priced. So you can't really take a put out going in earnings. I think if you really wanted to invest and not sell, one thing you can do that a lot of people love is you take a short leading into earnings equal to the amount of stock you have. So if I have, example, 100 shares of Plug, I take short 100 shares of Plug. So I have 100 shares bought of Plug. I have 100 short shares. They cancel each other out. You essentially have a completely neutral position, and you don't have to sell your shares. And then you can take advantage of the downside in the short term on Plug. You could just sell the short after earnings and still have your shares and not have lost anything. That's one way that I like to sometimes play stock plays that are uncertain. And it's a fantastic way, by the way, at the end of the year to play stocks. If you've made a decent amount of money on a stock and you want to keep it going into next year, that's a great tax saving strategy, is shorting a stock equal to the amount, and then you avoid a lot of capital gains. You can push your taxes off into the next season. So we're close to the end of the year. That's worth mentioning. So if you've made a lot of money in this recent bump, and we've had some good price action in Plug here. If you got in the 420s and you're up at 539, you got 20%, and you want to ride that out until next year, that's definitely worth noting. And there's plenty of articles on that. If you guys want those, just post it, ask me, and I'll share that link with you. It's an accounting trick. But that's what I got for you guys. I would say there's not a whole lot of protection. I would say the price action seems to be pretty easily laid out. I think you got plenty of long-term catalysts in this name, but that's the best that I can say for you guys, is caution advised in this stock, at least in the earnings, but it does appear to have some decent short-term upside. So hope that was helpful. Hope you liked this. If you want more, I will do more videos if you guys request it, not a problem. I tend to look at things from a behavioral point of view on market analysis. It seems to be an easier way to make money, but best of luck. Hope you guys make money and keep following. I will have more cherry pick alerts firing off, and hopefully we all get a couple more 400% days. Okay? All right. Take care, guys. Bye.